The What Geeks Do Network presents.
Welcome to Twi'lek Talk, a Star Wars podcast.
Welcome to Twi'lek Talk, episode 13. I'm Rob Solo. I'm here with old Ben, you old bastard. How you been?
Hello there.
That was
I have to add one more quote in there. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes.
And we have been, because we've been talking about this series, Rob, since we've known each other, maybe 6-7 years we've been talking about this.
And remember we did that Twi'lek Talk podcast and we were like, it's announced. I jumped the gun and I was like, it's announced. It's the Obi-Wan series is announced. And you were like, well, I don't know about that. That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, because of, I believe they originally thought it was going to be a movie, then it wasn't, and then all the other stuff was going on with the other movies, so then they shifted to TV, and then there was a question, hey, maybe it'll be a TV series, and it eventually did.
Well, apparently they used the movie script and broke it down for the series and used a lot of things from it, right?
I believe I heard that, yeah. I also know that they used a lot of stuff in this series, everything from Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
The Vader scene where he was pulling down the carrier that was supposed to be Starkiller in there, and stuff from Rebels as well. They used a lot of different parts of the Star Wars universe to bring this all together.
When they break into Inquisitorius, that's from the video game, Fallen Jedi?
Yep. Because there was a line, no one would be stupid enough to break into the Inquisitorius, but Cal Kestis had.
And that was before Obi-Wan had.
I believe so, yes.
So it's like second time it's been infiltrated.
Man,
how secure is that base? Who are they paying for security over there?
Yeah, not enough.
Let's get into it, old Ben. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I can't believe we're talking about it. It's great.
I know, it's crazy. The series is over, and fans are divided, as usual.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be the fans of Star Wars if they weren't divided on it.
I get that.
Including us to a degree, right?
I get that. I think you're going to be more positive than I am.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll get into it and we'll see where that goes.
So let's start with episode 1. I thought it started out kind of strong. I was like, all right, there's plenty of directions this is going.
Yeah, Obi-Wan was basically a butcher.
Yeah, he was chopping meat.
It seemed like he was just doing the normal sort of kind of what, again, I think going into this series, we both, and I think many big Star Wars fans had preconceived notions as to how it was going to go because, we know the history of he's on that planet for 20 plus years waiting for Luke to grow up, basically, and just watching over him. But what actually transpired during that time? And I think that, the first episode, it threw you right into it, kind of where we thought he would be. We thought he would be still disillusioned by everything, Anakin's betrayal and, the fall of the Jedi. And 10 years in, that's kind of where I thought he would be. But the whole series, I think overall, and I hope I'm not skipping too far ahead, I think it did go very fast as far as the pacing because they only had 6 episodes.
It felt like, all right, so it takes place 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith and Order 66. And it felt like, there was so much more, like it was a defeated Obi. He wasn't practicing in the Force. He sure as shit wasn't talking to Qui-Gon at any point. Like the way they left it off, it was almost like he fell off his training. And he did this to hide himself, I guess, and protect Luke. I don't know. And
I think it's but I think it's also mostly because they did touch upon it throughout the series. I think a lot of it was his
he was defeated.
His faith in himself, his belief in himself. I think that that was definitely something that, because even in the trailer, I forgot if this was a throwaway line just for the trailer or if it was actually in the series, but he mentioned something like, the Jedi are gone,
They're
we
dead.
lost.
Yeah.
So
existential type shit. He's going through middle-aged shit.
Some PTSD in the middle of that desert.
Yeah. And remember when we discussed what we thought what the Obi-Wan series would be? And we were like, oh, it's going to be like, probably he's going to be on Tatooine the whole time and they'll figure out stories to write in. And I know we talked about this, but no, right off the bat, he takes off. He leaves Tatooine. He leaves Luke behind, which you know, the only way The one thing I could say for the writing, because I don't love the writing in this series, the one thing I could say is if they were right about if there's anything that could get him off Tatooine, it would be Leia.
Yeah, and I think that surprisingly, that team up of young 10-year-old Leia and Obi-Wan, that was the team up I didn't know I needed, but I'm glad I got.
Yeah.
You know, the chemistry between them, the actors was great. I love the adventure going into that planet Daiyu, which was kind of like a Tokyo sort of feeling, like all the lights and neon lights and stuff, and sort of like a underbelly Coruscant sort of feel.
Or was that?
Or Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't think that was going to happen. So when it did happen, I was kind of taken aback that like, oh, there's a young Leia. They really hid that well. I had
heard a rumor that, and I heard a lot of stuff, unfortunately, before the series, and that was one of the things that I heard, that Leia was going to play an important part in the series. And at first I was like, well, wait a minute, this is supposed to be about him watching over Luke and making sure Luke was okay. And it surprised me that that was a bold move in this series, going that direction. But I'm glad they did, because the other thing I pointed out to you, I don't know if you remember, was the series prior to this, the Book of Boba Fett, took place on Tatooine like 90% of the time. Yeah. I don't know if I could have done 2 Star Wars series in a row where you're just on Tatooine. And I love Tatooine, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's that's one of the classic sort of settings for this franchise, but I'm kind of glad they did that, because I think they were trying to look more towards, this has got to be exciting. And if Obi-Wan is just on the planet for moping, and who's the villain going to be? I mean, because Vader's not going there, because he's just never going to, even though in the comic books he technically did. Yeah. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere.
That's why he hid there. They love their desert planets in Star Wars, with all the Tatooine and Jakku and all that stuff. I get that. It would have been kind of like a little overkill after the Boba Fett series, but yeah, he took off. Bill convinced him to go save Leia. I don't think the writing was fantastic at all. Joby Harold, I don't know. It was a little off at times. Yeah. There were a lot of things. Like I said, the pacing for me was very difficult to deal with, because I felt like Obi-Wan went from 0 to 60 in like 2 episodes. Like all of a sudden he went from being like, I can't use the Force, and Vader, is raking me over coals or whatever, to all of a sudden I've got my mojo back in like a day or 2, and now I'm like God mode Obi-Wan. Yeah. They were gonna stretch it out to 8 episodes, I believe. And they could have worked on the attention to detail, I think, if they had done that. Because, like you said, he like just leaving Tatooine in the first episode. I mean, that's fine, because he should leave. If he's going to leave, he should leave in the first episode. It just felt rushed. Yeah, I do like, though, I mean, again, given the time that they had, I did like the fact that they didn't, just rush. They kind of did. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they showed Obi-Wan struggling to try to get to use the Force again. Yeah. And it took Leia almost dying, him saving her, to sort of, reignite and the dormant abilities that he had. But, like I said before, I think that they needed a little bit more time to develop a lot of these ideas. And they weren't bad ideas. I think, Reva, or is it Reva? I think it's Reva.
I like that character. I like the idea that, it's this woman that was a Padawan that never was fully trained and is angry about all these things. And, her idea is to ascend the ranks so she can get close enough to Vader to exact revenge. I like that idea. But again, just like everything else, it was very rushed and not enough time to really get all the details in there. I
totally agree. I like the idea of Reva, but the execution was a little off in my opinion. I just feel like the way they portrayed her is she was like a pouty child.
But then again, Anakin was too. So
he was, but they should have like portrayed her differently as in like an intellectual. Like they should have had like a twist at some point. Was like, oh, that's her plan all along. But the way they executed it, it just felt shallow. Maybe.
Yeah, I could say that.
Rushed. You said rushed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I felt like there were many like ideas they had that were very much rushed, but because they only had however many episodes to do, they didn't have that luxury of really doing storytelling like that.
I want to get into that. Why the heck it is only 6 episodes and not longer. I want to get into all that because I blame Kathleen Kennedy completely for anything that is shitty about this series. And I know that I always, at this point, it's like, oh, just blame Kathleen Kennedy for everything. But do you know, like, she fought Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, sorry, on things that should have been done in this series and fans would have loved, from like start to end. And like, Ewan McGregor is an executive producer on the series, and there's certain things he wanted to do. And she is just, when I hear about what's going on behind the scenes, I just think her time with Star Wars is done. I'm a Filoni Favreau
for a while,
guy.
yeah.
I think Filoni and Favreau can really redeem Star Wars. I think Kathleen Kennedy, what does she have? 2 more projects left to that she has any creative control over, and that's the Acolyte and what's that? Bones? What's that one that's coming out?
Oh, not Bone Squadron.
Something like that.
Skeleton,
whatever.
We're not even sure what that's about.
I don't even care what it's about because I don't think I'm going to watch it, because anything that she's involved with, I think she's detached from what people want from Star Wars. And
I don't think she's she's not a creative person. That's sort of where she's good at getting the talent together and putting the people in that room to talk to figure it out. But yeah, she's not a creative. I mean, that's been talked about, And
then why is she so involved with the creative process?
I don't know.
Just sit back and collect your paycheck, woman. People call me sexist and toxic fan or whatever and all that shit. I'll post something on social media. They'd be like, "Oh, you're toxic. Fuck you," And I'm like, "Come on, man." I'm like, "I'm not toxic. I love Star Wars. I want it to be better."
Yeah, agreed.
It needs to be better.
Yeah, and there are. I will say one thing in that Disney is not messed up with is Darth Vader. Can we talk about how amazing he was in this series? I think so. I'm not sure if you agree, but
explain certain things to me though, old Ben.
Well, I think we finally got that Darth Vader, the ruthlessness.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was almost like I was talking to somebody compared to Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Michael Myers stalking Laurie Strode. He went in the fourth episode when he and Obi-Wan. Third episode when he and Obi-Wan had the if you want to call it a duel, it was more or less like he was chasing him around. It was almost like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was using his lightsaber more like a flashlight as opposed to a weapon. Trying to figure out where he is, and just Vader was just snapping necks and cashing Imperial credits, bro.
I did like the whole scene when he's walking through, his entrance,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obi-Wan was totally...
He was like Ivan Drago. Whatever he hits,
yeah,
he destroys.
And he snaps that kid's neck, and he's
God, it was crazy.
That was wild.
Yeah, this I will say Disney Star Wars has not shied away from showing on a lot of on screen, and they even showed some of the Padawan stuff when Anakin when they stormed the during Order 66. They showed a couple.
I like the dark stuff. I like how they're not holding back. They give you a little warning before the episode.
Yeah, I mean George Lucas did a lot of off-screen implied that happened or whatever, but they're showing some stuff. But between Rogue One and even Rebels, they even though Rebels was more of a kids show, they still showed you his Vader's ruthlessness, ferocity. But with this, especially those 2 fights, I mean, and him talking with the Inquisitors, and they finally are showing because Vader hated the Inquisitors.
Yeah,
that's the thing. In the comic books, I know a lot of people are listening might not read the comic books, but he's just hated the Inquisitors, and he would talk down to them, torture them. Yeah. Cut their arms off.
He cut Fifth Brother's arm off. What's his name? Fifth Brother?
Yeah.
Chopped him up.
Yeah.
He was a badass mom. I like the ruthlessness of Vader. I like the way they portrayed that in certain things. There's certain things I like about the series.
No, I believe me. I don't think this is a perfect series by far. I just my biggest thing, and you had discussed it earlier, was the fact that the biggest thing that I was concerned about was okay, Obi-Wan is going to rescue Leia. Fine. Luke was, I mean, he had Lars and he had Beru, but who else was defending him? Who else was there? You know what I mean?
It's weird that he would leave him, but
because Bale was so insistent. You know, she's just as important than he is, and like, well, they're both kind of important, and I agree to a degree. But what I would have done, and this is just me, just sort of my ideas, Bale should have at least, lent out some elite, Alderaanian guards or soldiers to watch over the Lars homestead. And then when Reva came down, she could have easily dispatched them. But at least you've got some sort of,
something
that's covered.
Yeah, let me send some guards and they'll hang out in Tatooine while you go save my daughter, my adopted daughter. You're right. Why didn't they do that? That would have been cool. Or like find Quinlan Voss or something, I don't know. It's got to be a way, Not that they probably could find him, but whatever. One of my problems with the whole series was really the attention to detail. I just think they could have really edited it better and worked on I don't know, the small little details, like when they're Tala and whatever. Reva finds this entrance area out of nowhere that leads down that long tunnel.
Oh, the path. Yeah.
Yeah, the path. And they never really show Tala turns back. Is there there is a shot where it shows it could go two different ways, but just show her exiting a different way, and that's how she saves Kenobi in that episode 3. Show those details. It's lacking in that sense.
I also think too that they relied too much on the volume. That's state of the art way they shoot, as far as the backgrounds for the series. I think there should have been more. I don't know if there were on location filming. I don't know if there was any, but I mean, for The Mandalorian for the first season, wow, I can't believe that's cool. They did, but I think as we as viewers, I think the technology has to continue to develop. I think they have to continue to integrate the real shoots, the real sets in addition to as they're upgrading the technology.
Yeah, practical.
So, practical and the technology. Yeah.
The best stuff is practical, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the attention to detail, man, this is Obi-Wan. First off,
a lot of people said it looked like a fan film at certain points.
It really did. Yeah. I have to agree. So let me ask you this, old Ben. Why the fuck is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni not involved with this series?
That I don't know. I mean, after the success of The Mandalorian, you'd think that they would be, at least writing the episodes or in some way more involved than they probably. I mean, I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were asked their opinion and stuff.
No, let me tell you why. I don't know if
they were on set.
I could tell you why. Kathleen Kennedy shot it down. She did not want Jon Favreau. There's a competition going on over there at Lucasfilm, and I think they're butting heads. This is my opinion. And Kathleen Kennedy said Jon Favreau was in talks to be involved, right? And she shot it down. She wanted to do her own thing. It's an ego thing. And she is screwing shit up. He even said, he came out recently and said, there were many things off about this series, the editing, the lighting and whatnot. If he doesn't agree with how it was. It was filmed in under 2 months. 2 months or under 2 months.
But 4 or 5 years of development.
Why would
ironic.
Why would you do that with an Obi-Wan series as important as some character like that? And what the fans have been waiting for, you got the actors back, and then you go and rush everything and get this nobody to fucking write it. A 12-year-old could have written that story.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah. They didn't take the time that they really could have. I mean, they could have released this, after Andor. They could have. I mean, they already held it off long enough. But I know they said at one point. Didn't Kathleen Kennedy say that they actually had scripts that they had originally? They had another director to direct it.
I think the movie scripts. That's what.
But then they fired him, and
they probably fired somebody. I'm sure.
Yeah.
She also shot down John Williams. John Williams did a lot of remixes of Duel of the Fates and she totally didn't want to use it and went with
right.
You know what I mean? Natalie Holt, which is fine, and a lot of it's great, but oh my gosh, like John Williams did music for this. Not only just the Obi-Wan theme, he did more. And Kathleen Kennedy shot it down and said, no, we're not going to do that. Why?
Right.
Why, old Ben? Does she hate the fans? Does she not want to give the fans what they want?
She hates us.
She's calls the fans toxic constantly and says,
man babies. No, that's someone else.
But like, why would you do that?
I don't know. I think that Lucasfilm for a very long time, it's been a long time coming. I think that they do need to take a new direction because there have been so many issues that have gone on, from casting to mostly the directors to, creative differences. And there have just been, from The Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker to issues with Solo to it's been hit or miss with a lot of stuff because, Rogue One did well, a lot better than a lot of people thought, and that was pretty much universally liked. The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, that was universally liked, but then there's other stuff, like I mentioned before, where it was very divisive. And I just, people have always said, oh, they need a person like Kevin Feige in there that's more of a creative executive that's, heading it up. And, I don't know. I don't really know. It's Star Wars has been a mixed bag for me.
Isn't that the Bob Igers or what's his name? Bob Chapek, whatever.
Bob Chapek, yeah. He runs Disney. So
yeah. So why is he allowing this shit to go on?
I don't know. Man. I mean, with Star Wars, it's like, you don't want to say, well, I could have written better than that. I mean, but we probably could have. I don't know.
We definitely could have.
You know what I mean? Like, I think too, because since there are, with the original trilogy, there was usually one writer and George, and they would just hash it out.
Yeah.
And with this, it's a whole room full of writers, and they probably have ideas. There are, when it comes down to it for the movie, there is maybe one or two writers, but now there's a think tank, and now the story group, as they call it, and they go through all the ideas, I'm assuming, for different series, different parts of Star Wars. And I just think that there needs to be more of a universal sort of one person, and that everyone answers to, that knows Star Wars.
Yeah, his name's Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
There should be a think tank, because this series was written by one guy until the last two episodes. And there were people who have input, like even Ewan McGregor was the executive producer on the series and had a lot of input, but it was written by one guy, and it shouldn't have been, in my opinion. And Dave Filoni should have been the go-through guy to okay all of that, that was happening in this series.
Yeah.
They're blowing it.
Because he is the Padawan of George Lucas. So
he really is. And he's fantastic, and he deserves more respect. Let's take a break real quick. We'll come back, finish up on the last 3 episodes. Kind of got halfway through.
Yep, we're halfway there.
Halfway home.
Not able to bullseye womp rats like you used to? Are you falling into your own emotional sarlacc pit? Maybe you need to add some bantha milk into your diet. More protein than root leaf stew, and much healthier than death sticks. Bantha milk will give you the energy you need to outrun those Tusken Raiders. Bantha milk. Liquid. Blue. Yummy. Really yummy.
Welcome back to Twi'lek Talk, episode 13. I'm Rob Solo.
I'm Old Ben.
All right, episode 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
It's the break-in of the Inquisitorius.
Oh, yeah.
Taken from that video game. I'm not a gamer.
No, neither am I. So, but yeah, no, it had it had the typical Imperial sort of feel to it. You had, people walking around and moving things around, and stormtroopers all over the place.
Do you know that Toby Howard, do you know what his influences were when he was writing this?
No.
The Clone Wars, Rebels, and you ready for this? The Last Jedi. Traitor! They threw that traitor.
Oh God, no one want to discuss that.
It's a sore spot.
Yeah. Could we talk about? I know we're jumping off topics for a second, but could we talk about the flashback, the Anakin and Obi-Wan sparring session?
That was probably my favorite thing about the series. A lot of people complain he's like Anakin looked old, but that was my favorite thing about the series, if I'm being honest.
I didn't think too much of that. That didn't bother me much. I mean, I don't know if I was more or less just like, hey, we're getting Hayden Christensen as Anakin around Attack of the Clones, and that's pretty cool. And then, at that time, he's more powerful than Obi-Wan at that point. But Obi-Wan is still the master, and he still finds a way to best him. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen looked good. I don't have a problem with it. And you're right. And that was really what was cool, is because Anakin is definitely more powerful at that moment, but Obi is still teaching him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I like the way that they mirrored that in that episode. Like, he needed to. The CGI was shit. Don't get me wrong. It looked like some shit from Sci-Fi Channel in the early 2000s. But otherwise, I like the idea. Was he just so drained? Was Darth Vader just so drained from holding that one ship back that he just let the other ship go? Because that's 2 times he let Obi-Wan go in this series. And that fire, I thought
that was also a big. Yeah, a lot of people were upset with the fact that he had him. I mean, literally, he was dragging him through the fire, which I'm also I said to my wife, and we were talking about it a little bit. And I said, I just didn't get why, like, he's hurt. I mean, he's burned. Why does he not have those scars like in A New Hope?
No, he had scars on like his arms, not his face.
Yeah.
Attention to detail again. And my thing is, he let him go, and I thought in the next episode we would learn, like, he was just toying with him, and he knew where he would be, and he wanted him to be stronger, to have the, final battle. There's so many ways they could have done that, but no, they never actually explained. He could have jumped over the fire. He could have put a fire out, which he had done moments before. It's the attention to detail. Some of the writing is just off.
Yeah, and I think too, and we'll also, maybe we should discuss the lightsaber, not the elephant in the room, the lightsaber in the room. Reva getting stabbed twice by a lightsaber and somehow surviving.
And, I get the Grand Inquisitor. Maybe he has 2 stomachs, and that works. But
that was explained. I mean, that's definitely, if you're really a big fan and you read a lot of these things. I mean, some of us knew that, but I guess if you're part of the dark side, you can escape. Lightsaber stabs and strikes, because Maul was able to stay alive after being cut in half.
That was
Phantom Menace. Meanwhile, Qui-Gon's sitting over here like, really?
But I mean,
really?
she gets stabbed pretty bad, and they never explain. Oh, she's got Fennec Shan robotics or any of that.
That's what I was. Yeah.
None of that is explained. And not only does she get stabbed and humiliated, but she has to either crawl and find like some little, receiver in the sand, with a message sent from Bail Organa. Like,
yeah, and Bail, what's up with giving all this information out? Why can't you be? Where's the code? You know what I mean?
He would never do that. He would never do that.
Yeah,
that was so badly written. You have to admit that, old Ben.
And another issue that I have is the fact that after this whole escapade with the Organas, how are they not on the Empire's shit list?
I know. How are they not like traitor?
How are they not like complicit in all of this stuff? Like, they're aiding.
They would go to Alderaan and take them into custody with all of the shit that's going on. None of it is explained, and it's a big issue in the series. I want to love it. I want to love it, old Ben, and I know you do too. And I know you like a lot of it, and I like a lot of it. I like some of it. I don't like a lot of it.
I like a lot of it. I like some of it.
I'm trying to like it. I'm not a toxic fanboy, I swear.
You listen to me, man, baby.
But, like, why are they not putting 100% effort into an Obi-Wan series? We've waited for years.
I know. It's not like this is something that they just started thinking about a year ago, like, hey, you know what? People do like that Obi-Wan Kenobi character. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. We should maybe do a series on that.
Let's take 2 months and film some shit and throw it together. And
let's get some. And apparently,
guy.
they said each episode was something like $25 million budgets.
Oh my god,
I mean, they spent close to
someone's pocketing that money. Someone's buying some new houses and cars with that money because that shit didn't go to that series. Not with the CGI. It lacks a lot. It lacks a lot. But there are a lot of things I like. I'm trying to stay positive. Episode 5. I mean, Hugh McGregor was an executive producer and had a lot of influence on the last, 2 episodes?
And it shows then if that is the case.
It is. And he was fighting an uphill battle with Kathleen Kennedy, apparently. And I think this will come out more and more as time goes by, where I think Ewan McGregor understands the character much more than she does.
Well, he played him for a very long time, and I think he probably has a good grip on the motivation and where his story is going. And
she shot down the John Williams music. She shot down anything he remixed and wanted to put in the series. So John Williams music that he made for the series, the only thing they used was the Obi-Wan theme. Also, Yoda was supposed to make an appearance in this series, which makes complete sense, being that he was trying to, train him to, teach Obi-Wan to converse with Qui-Gon. And they should have at least given a little time in one of those episodes to show...
To the little green guy.
Yeah, to the little green guy, to show that, there was some training going on. But instead, Kathleen Kennedy said, this is too much fan service. And she threw it aside and said, no, we want to focus on the characters like Tala, Roken, and little Leia, which she was a great little actress, by the way.
Yeah, that was good. That was great casting by Lucasfilm, definitely.
Yeah. Good job. I mean, some of the shit, the way it was written, it's like, why do you trust her? She's never proven herself, kind of stuff. They could have written it better. There were certain things in when she's fixing, when she's trying to open the doors on the rebel base or whatever. And plus that guy Roken, what's his name? Roken? Ice Cube's son, Roken.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you ain't supposed to be coming through here. What they do is traffic Jedi and Force sensitive.
Yeah, I know that was very. And then he went from being like, I can't give you a ship. Here's my ship.
And he's like, I can't help you get out of here. And he's like, you know what? You want my help? You got it. Like, what the hell is going on?
And that's another one of those points where I'm like, this could be a really good character, but they just, again, because of the time, because of the writing, it just wasn't fully formed. So
wasn't fully formed. Not going to pretend it was. I'm really not. I want to like it so much. It's not. It's not well done. It's not.
Yeah.
What do you think of the final battle?
I loved it. Loved it. I will say
all of it?
Yeah.
Shaky cam and all? You like all the shaky cam?
Well, maybe not that. But I so you didn't like all of it, Ben. No, I think that it was one of those things where it's like, I don't know if this was necessary. I don't know if the rematch of the century, as Kathleen Kennedy called it, was really necessary, but it was cool. I mean, Obi-Wan got schooled again, but put up more of a fight than Anakin or Obi-Wan. And Darth Vader, technically, the angle he had the high ground over Obi-Wan after he put him into that ditch, which was kind of poetic and cool.
Yeah.
And then then what happened was, usually it's the hero that's walking along and Vader shows up behind him and sneaks up and ignites his lightsaber. This time it was the opposite. And we got a very much aggressive Obi-Wan in this fight, which I thought was really cool. And they just didn't have him resort back to being a defensive Sarisu fighter. You know what I mean?
I like that Sarisu part though. When he puts his fingers up, he does his stance.
Oh yeah.
Obi-Wan was never that strong in the Force. That was his default. Like
he will do what he must though.
Yeah, but the thing was with the lifting the rocks, that whole Rey Skywalker, like, oh, Last Jedi. You could see he obviously was influenced by Last Jedi. Don't call her Rey Skywalker. I don't like it. But like when he lifts the rocks and stuff, it was just like, come on, bro. Like Obi-Wan is not that powerful in the Force. Let's be realistic. If you know the character at all, his strong points are Surisu and mastering Form 3 of saber fighting. And that's why he wins. That's why he killed or cut them all down, you know.
And he's also good at talking people out of using death sticks.
That's true. But he's not a huge Force user. The power portrayed like as if he was stronger in the Force than Anakin was. That's a little far.
Maybe he tapped into something. I don't really know. But they did have to show that. Well, they didn't have to, but I think they wanted to show that Obi-Wan was back and that,
but he should have beat
Vader,
him.
Yeah.
He should have beat him one-on-one in a lightsaber duel. No Force using. He should have really... That's how they could have really made his character work, if you know his character. I don't think he should have used the Force the way he did. I really don't. I think he should have used the Force a little bit here and there. But, like, really, his strong point is his lightsaber dueling. He should have beat Vader. And I don't even like that he beat Vader. I don't even think that fight should have happened, but whatever. They can, I mean, a lot of people say that canon is pretty screwed up from this series or whatever. But the thing I do like about that final battle is that he did win. And that does make sense when it comes to New Hope. And he's like, last time I met you, I was, you were the master or whatever. But now I'm the master. So, like, he is still learning. And I do like that. 10 years down the line, Vader is still learning things. And I like that he recognizes that in A New Hope. And that's one thing that's cool about, a slight retcon. Or, I mean...
If anything, that was another sort of a lesson that Obi-Wan inadvertently taught Vader about,
so much.
being...
So much. About using the Force. Not even using the Force, about just being balanced. And like recognizing faults, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You like that last fight, huh?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Call me whatever. I enjoyed it.
I won't call you anything, Ben. Cocksucker, motherfucker.
Piece of shit. But I digress.
I'm glad you liked it.
Scruffy looking Nerf herder.
I love that people like it. I really do. I want the fans to be happy.
It was. You know what? I think. I don't know. For me, I was looking for that one scene where the whole series, Obi-Wan's just being pounded into the ground, and he's just not himself, and he's just mopey. But all of a sudden, he's just flips a switch, and he's just comes alive, and Vader doesn't know what to do. Vader was always a little bit hesitant around his master, even though he's more powerful than him.
Yeah.
But
I like that. That's a good point you made. That's actually really wow. You really turned me around on that. Because, if they could have stretched it out, did 8 episodes, and showed the details of him becoming, one with the Force again, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me type shit, like, that would have been, like, Vader taken aback. After the first battle, he was like, all right, I'm just toying with him. He obviously was, and he's weak. The years that made you weak, old man, whatever he said. And then the final battle, like Obi-Wan, like they should have showed more of Obi-Wan coming back with the Force, I think. They could have really, really, really made it beautiful if they had, maybe Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau on board. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe, hey, if there's a second season, maybe they'll be,
well, apparently
in charge of that.
They are going to be involved. I think they realized their mistake.
Yeah.
And the word on the street is that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to be involved with the second season. And they're going to do a second season because even the fans that hated it, they're going to watch it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the number one most watched Disney Plus series so far.
So far ever?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that makes sense. It really does.
And I'm sure it got more subscribers. I'm sure people were like, I want to check out that Obi-Wan. I really like Revenge of the Sith. I want to check that out.
Could you imagine, though, if they had really done right and made it so you were kind of like, I love The Mandalorian. When I'm finished watching The Mandalorian, I'm like, that was good. That was good Star Wars. If they had done Obi-Wan better, I really, really would have been more confident in Disney Star Wars.
It's ironic, though, if you think about it, because Mandalorian basically, pretty much are all new characters. And the other series they've had, which is Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, they're all established. And it seems to be that universally, people love the Mandalorian, but again, they've got all these new characters, and then they can't get it right with the Legends characters.
I think they should just branch off and do new stories. Taika Waititi is doing a Star Wars series or a movie. Is it a trilogy or is it just all right? So
I think it's a movie,
and it takes place in the future, and it has none of the characters we know. And you know what? Let's do that now. Let's move on to that. But I do think that Andor is going to be that's a sleeping giant. I think that series is going to be really good. Tony Gilroy writing that, and as much as I like Rogue One, I think that series is going to be like, it's going to be the one to pull you back. It's going to be like,
I think so too. I think that Lucasfilm has a good track record of pulling the carpet out from under you and then placing you gently back on the sofa.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
what is that, old Ben? You think that's some psychological shit they're doing to us? Like, fuck you. Here's The Last Jedi, and then here's The Mandalorian, and they get you back, and you're like, oh, shit could be cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm wearing my directed by Ryan Johnson t-shirt here.
Oh God.
I'm hearing too that Andor is it looks from, they had the behind the scenes featurette they showed. It looks really good. It looks like, as far as the planets, the creatures, the settings, I think it's going to be, and they're describing it as sort of like a political sort of thriller, as far as Andor, Cassian, his early upbringing, and then becoming a part of the rebellion, and then Mon Mothma is also too sort of masquerading as like an Imperial, but she's also too secretly getting the rebellion together.
I love it. I'm so excited. I think that's going to be a good one. I really do. Mark my words. Rob Solo here saying Andor is going to be good. It will.
Yeah,
I know.
I think so too.
I don't love Obi-Wan. I don't. I'm going to be honest with you, old Ben.
What would you give it as far as a letter rating? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Is it D?
Oh, isn't like if you're in high school?
Grading. If you're grading,
C.
Give it a C.
Yeah, I'll give it a C.
B- here.
B-. I thought you liked it more than I did.
I think I like it a little bit more than you do.
I always try to be,
but not a lot.
I always try to be as positive as I can, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a legacy character. You got to do better. And you know what? Kathleen Kennedy shouldn't be involved. Let's get some new talent out there. I love the acting. Ewan McGregor is great. Hayden Christensen. Even Tala, the character, she's a great actor.
Originally, she was supposed to be actually a love interest for Obi-Wan in this series, but then they sort of said no.
Well, thank God to that. Sabine. Yeah. What's her name? Duchess.
Satine.
Satine. That's his only love.
Yes.
I will not have any other. I don't know. There should have just been more attention to detail. There should have been more better editing. There's so much more they could have did. Do you like the way it ends?
Qui-Gon? Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
Did you really like that? I thought it was just kind of like thrown in there. It felt so Disney.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
we've got a long way to go. Come on.
You're here the whole time. Hey, I'm a Force ghost. Haha.
Yeah.
George Lucas hated that shit, right?
Yeah. I mean,
did you hear about that?
Wait, what?
George Lucas was like, Force ghosts don't age, and it's just weird. And he didn't like that ending at all. You know what should have happened? It should have been one of those things. And I think I heard someone say this, but I totally agree. Where like the ending is Obi-Wan meditating, and then he hears a voice and his eyes opens. He hears the voice of Qui-Gon and his eyes open. And that would lead into like, holy shit, what's going to happen in season 2? Right
and
now,
then Qui-Gon shows up in season 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I'm not excited for season 2. The only reason I'm even slightly excited for season 2 is that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau might be involved. And let's hope they are, because this is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry
agreed.
to be so blunt. I'm tired of it, Ben. I will not have mediocre Star Wars in my life.
I know we want we want nothing but the best for this series, because this is what we grew up with. And
it really is. It's part of our life.
It's still unorganized, and they still haven't gotten it together. So
get us together.
Fingers crossed that they figure this out. So we'll see.
Deborah Chow directed some of the best Mandalorian, but
yeah,
what is it with the shaky cam and all that shit going on, man?
Yeah, it's like what's that? Oh, the Bourne Identity.
Look, if you're going to test out film editing and shooting, don't do it on the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, right.
That's the place that you don't do it. You know, test
the cameraman was cold. Come on, he was just shivering.
Yeah, he was shivering in his pink shorts. Yeah. Anything you want to add to?
Let's see. Well, they like you mentioned, there looks like there could be a season 2. I'm sort of divided on that, because although I liked the series, I don't know what you could do to top this first season if they're going to do a second season. Maybe more Qui-Gon, like we had mentioned. Maybe that'll be the case, or
Yoda.
I could see them doing some sort Yoda, or I could see them doing. And the reason why I think Reva survived was because they wanted to do a spin-off with her, or have her in like Ahsoka or Andor, because Andor's 5 years before A New Hope. So you could easily put her in there as one of the people that's helping out with the path, which I think that was sort of almost, they telegraphed that one, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like that could be what she does, in some ways helps out Force sensitives that are on the run from the Empire.
Reva could be written well.
Yeah.
By someone else.
Yeah.
I think that character could work. You've established, I don't even know what the fuck her, like, what was she after? She was like, just wanted to do
She wanted revenge on Anakin for killing her friends.
Yeah. She's been screwing.
And she also wanted revenge on Obi-Wan, because now was a bit of a stretch. She was upset with Obi-Wan because he didn't train Anakin properly. I think it was something. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me.
I don't know.
There's a lot that didn't make sense in this series. I mean, there was definitely some good stuff and some fun stuff, but there was some stuff that was kind of a question mark. So
if they bring her back,
I don't know.
They could really write her well. They really could. Give the reins to Filoni and Favreau, and they can make that character pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But let's see.
We will see.
The future hold. Oh, Ben, it was great to be back in the studio with you. It's been a really good time.
You as well, my friend.
Yeah, we've it's been a while, so we got a lot going on in our lives, and still Star Wars
shout out to Darth Dillon somewhere out there.
He's out there somewhere playing his music. Max Rebo Band. Yeah, until next time.
Until next time.
May the Force be with you.
Always.